We are still not the Hoops. We are still the Connor family, and it is the morning time, and we are a little sleepy. Ha ha, look at Jackson's face. We are here to tell you a story about Ruth and Naomi. Go team!
Go team!
Once upon a time, there were two kingdoms called Moab and Israel, separated by a lake. And in Israel, where things were green and beautiful and the corn was high, there were two people who were named
Naomi.
Elimelech.
Times were good. And Mom and Dad and Naomi and Elimelech had two baby boys. Now, we don't know what their names were, but in the Connor home, we like to think of them as
Hercules and Mulligan.
The good news is the boys grew up strong and healthy.
Yay!
The bad news is there was a famine in the land and everything died.
Boo. Well, kids, big news.
We're moving to Moab because there's food there.
Oh, phooey. Moab stinks. What do you think Moab is like? I hear they live in trees and eat bugs.
Welcome to Moab, where it's a never-ending party and we have a lot of tasty foods.
Okay.
And so they got married.
I now pronounce you husbands and wives.
Yay!
Unfortunately, even though there was much joy, there was also much sadness because in Moab, suddenly there was a horrible disease and Elimelech and the boys all died. So Naomi said to her daughters-in-law, Ruth and Orpah,
Okay, so dudes are dead. I'm going to go back to Israel because that's where my family is, and you're going to stay in Moab because that's where your family is.
No, you're mother/mother-in-law. We can't leave you. We want to go with you.
Yeah.
No, I can't take care of you. You need to go back to your families.
Oh, you're right. I'll go find my family. See ya.
No, Naomi. Wherever you go, I go. Your people are my people. Your God is my God.
And so Ruth and Naomi made the long journey past the lake between Moab and Israel. And Ruth took care of Naomi for the rest of her life. And Ruth met a man named Boaz, and they had children, and their children had children, and eventually Ruth became the grandmother of King David.
And that's how it happened. Ruth is one of my favorite characters in Scripture, and she's kind of a superstar. I said that she's the grandmother of King David, who is one of the greatest kings of Israel. She is one of only 4 women who are in the family history of Jesus in the book of Matthew. And I bet that if you made a list of women that you knew their names of in the Bible, Ruth would probably be on it. Even if you didn't necessarily know all the details of her story, you might be like, wasn't there that lady Ruth? Wasn't that a thing? She's a big deal. She's sort of famous. I said she's a superstar. And it's not because of her relationship with Jesus. She didn't actually know Jesus. She was his like great grandmother. But it's not just because of that connection, and it's not just because of her connection to King David. Those things happened. She's famous because of this thing at the beginning of the story with Naomi. This line that she says, when Naomi says, I'm going to go back home, and you should go back to your family here in Moab. And Ruth says, no. Where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Her family may not have even been alive, you know. And given the time, they might not have taken her back. We don't know what would have happened to Orpah if she walked back to her family. It's hard to say. But Ruth says to Naomi, no, you are my family now. You are my mother/mother-in-law, as Jackson said. We are connected. We have a relationship now. And I'm going to take care of you as you have taken care of me. And that's exactly what happened. They went back to Israel, and Ruth gleaned on the edges of the fields, which is sort of a form of begging. It's not quite though it might have been embarrassing for her to do that. But what all that meant was that on the fields where the grain was growing, the farmers were meant to leave a little strip of wheat that hadn't been harvested for poor people to come and get some grain so they could make bread. So that's what she did. She gleaned the wheat, she made bread for her mother-in-law, and they cared for each other, and they lived together. And that may seem like a small thing, particularly when we have stories about bushes that burn and aren't consumed, and we hear about plagues, and we hear about, all these big stories. This is about making bread. This is about living with someone and caring for them. Because most of our lives aren't big, huge burning bush stories. Most of our lives are just, we get up and we eat breakfast and maybe we play on our Nintendo Switch and we fight with our siblings and we make up with our siblings and we check the mail and we make lunch, right? We make our beds, we do the laundry. That's our lives. So much of it is this day-to-day stuff. And it's this question of what are you choosing in your day-to-day? Now we're living in interesting times, let's say. Things are kind of nutty. Maybe some of the little people who are listening, the smaller folks, are like, I don't know, it's cool, I get to hang out with my parents all the time. Hey, totally fair. Your parents are superstars. Absolutely. Your parents are great. And parents, I imagine there's a level of you thinking about that about your kids. Your kids are amazing, right? But also, it can be hard. Is anybody getting grumpy with your family? Is anybody getting bored of being with your family almost all the time? Is anybody sort of chafing at the idea of wearing the masks when you go outside? But these are the things that we do, is we learn to make up with each other. When we get into a fight, we go back to the person and we say, I am so sorry. I'm tired. I'm bored. I shouldn't have yelled at you like that. Or we put on the mask. We say, I'm aware that this protects other people just as much as it protects me. And that I'm living for other people, that I'm caring for other people. In wearing those masks when we go out, or when we go visit family, one of the things that we are saying to them is, where you go, I will go. Your people are my people. Your God is my God. We're recognizing that common humanity, that need to take care of each other. Similarly, you might say same kind of things about protests for Black Lives Matter, or it was just Pride Month in June for our LGBTQ siblings. Like the ways that we live with each other in the world, when we call each other on Zoom, when we say hello to each other on the streets, when we learn about language, like words that we've been using that are hurtful, and we apologize and we try not to use them anymore. This is how we care for each other. And it doesn't seem like it's a big thing. It seems like really small things. And I'm going to totally butcher this quote, but I believe it was Mother Teresa who said something like, it's not as important to do the big things. It's important to do the small things with love. So I'm going to leave you with that this week. What are the small things that you do? And literally, I'm even meaning like maybe your 2- and 3-year-olds. Are there small things that you do with love? One of my favorite things in my life is that my son Jackson will come up to me and he'll say, I'm going to give you a hug now. And then he does. And then he goes away and plays and whatever. It's delightful. Happy week to all of you. Blessings.
I am a professional.
Okay.
I cannot stand this work environment.